The second race of the doubleheader takes us to Singapore, and it is time for us to focus on upgrades. The Azerbaijan GP was a cracker. Oscar Piastri took his second Grand Prix victory, taking McLaren to the lead in the Constructors' Championship. Ferrari lost out on a potential race victory despite having a competitive car on track. Red Bull took a decent step forwards in terms of overall performance, while Mercedes had to endure yet another tough race weekend. To continue with this competitive trajectory, teams will be bringing upgrades to Singapore, and I'll detail you all the information regarding these said upgrade packages, right from Ferrari and Red Bull down to Williams and RB. So don't go anywhere. Let's start this video with Williams. The Grove-based team enjoyed one of the team's best race weekends at Baku, as Alex Albon finished the race P7, scoring 6 points, while teammate Franco Colapinto came home P8, scoring his first 4 points in Formula 1. The team brought its first huge aero upgrade package back at Zandvoort, which included a brand new floor and new side pods design. These upgrades were aimed at improving the car's overall load generation while simultaneously improving the car's aerodynamic efficiency. And on-track results suggest that the upgrades have stirred the FW46 in a positive trajectory in both ways, which was also confirmed by team principal James Vowles back at Monza. To keep working on this positive development trajectory, Williams are en route to introduce further upgrades at Singapore. Several sources reported Williams to be bringing a new front wing specification to Baku, but that upgrade was delayed by the team to further optimize their new underfloor setup-wise to boost efficiency. The new front wing is supposed to work in line with the new floor and side pods, improving the car's aerodynamic balance, specifically boosting performance around high-speed corners. Next, let's focus on Red Bull's upgrades. Red Bull endured a disappointing weekend at Azerbaijan. The team entered the weekend with a new underfloor, hoping to steer the RB20 in a positive development trajectory to end the team's victory drought. While the weekend started on a positive note, with both Verstappen and Perez showing signs of competitive pace throughout the practice sessions, qualifying did bring the problems back out. Still being outqualified by McLaren and Ferrari, the delta between the leading pack and Red Bull was about half a second on quali pace. But race pace was different between the drivers. Perez was 400ths off the lead pack, while Verstappen was half a second slower than his teammate on race trim, complaining about the car's balance throughout the entire Grand Prix. What made the race weekend disappointing for the team was Perez's crash with signs of the dying stages of the Grand Prix, with Red Bull losing lots of points to rivals McLaren and Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship. Similar to Monza, the RB20 had balance issues, with Max mostly complaining about the RB20 not having enough bite around the 90-degree corners. The RB20 also struggled with ride quality around the streets of Baku, Max again complaining about porpoising during his low fuel runs. Despite the new floor working positively, the disappointing result overall at the Azerbaijan GP has allowed McLaren to take the lead in the Constructors' Championship from Red Bull, putting more pressure on the defending champions. So to sort the RB20's problems and to give themselves a fighting chance in this year's championship, Red Bull is set to introduce an upgrade to its underfloor at Singapore, which is said to be an evolution of its new underfloor introduced at Baku. As a result of the team shifting focus from the RB21 back onto the RB20, the engineers have more resources in hand to work on evolutionary upgrades, which will make its way reportedly to every race weekend in the form of minute detail changes. As for the team's prospects at Singapore, the RB20 will be facing a challenge, yet again. The marina-based street circuit requires good curb riding and equivalent high-speed performance, with the former being a known issue within the RB20's fundamental design. So the Singapore race will once again be about damage limitation for Red Bull. Next, let's focus on Mercedes upgrades. The Silver Arrows had a mixed outing at Baku, different results coming from the two garages. While Russell will be satisfied about his weekend, being on the back foot making it onto the podium with a P3 finish, Hamilton on the other hand started the weekend very well, then dropped out, finishing P9. The team entered the Azerbaijan GP reverting specifications, going back to their Miami floor to understand where the W15's balance currently stands. While the team believed this move will widen the W15's working window, both Mercedes drivers were off pace on qualifying and race times, suggesting that rival teams have taken a step forwards compared to their own progress. Also, the team still seems to be lacking the proper understanding about the current Pirelli tyres, as both Hamilton and Russell throughout the entire weekend raised many concerns about tyre performance, That inconsistency was seen in the race mainly where the W15 was uncompetitive on the medium tyre while the car came alive on the hard compound tyre. Andrew Shovlin on his post-race comments confirmed this, adding, "This weekend hasn't been good enough and we need to improve. The first stint for both drivers was weak, we couldn't stop the rear tyres from overheating, and at one point it was looking like we were in for a very difficult afternoon. The hard tyres suited us better." Mercedes has 2 days max from now to analyse the data from Baku to come up with a solution for this problem. Reliable sources close to the team reported that the team will be bringing small upgrades to Singapore, revolving around the car's brake ducts designed to work out the tyre temperature and performance issues. As for the Singapore GP, it's a tight high-speed circuit. I expect them to be a little bit shy off the front two teams. Next, let's focus on McLaren's upgrades. McLaren enjoyed a great weekend at Baku. Piastri won the race while Lando made a recovery drive from P15 up to P4 following a miserable qualifying. With the Baku results, McLaren officially lead the Constructors' Championship now and they have the fastest car on the grid. Yet to make their odds better, they have upgrades lined up in the pipeline. Reports reveal that these are small bits which will work on the car's component cooling, mostly brake ducts. McLaren's upgrades this season has been on improving fine detail and that has given them performance uplifts, so it will be interesting to see what the Singapore upgrades will do to the MCL38. They also do have an underfloor ready to go on, and if the championship necessitates its need, they will bring it too. Yes, I can confirm that we have some stuff coming for the next races, and I will let the FAI documents surprise when they are published. Also, to touch quickly on the McLaren Mini DRS at Baku, it's a brilliant innovation and teams surely have to take note of McLaren's recent developments if they are to catch them in this season or next season. As for Singapore prospects, McLaren are the leading team now, so they will be challenged by at least all three rival teams. Next, let's talk about Ferrari's upgrades. Ferrari went through a subpar outing at Baku. While Leclerc stood on the podium, he once again failed to convert his pole into a race win, while teammate Carlos Sainz had a tangle with Perez, ending his race just with 2 laps to the checkered flag. Around the streets of Baku, the SF24 was the overall strongest, but did display one weakness, and that being poor traction. To work on this issue, Ferrari are reported to be introducing minor upgrades at Singapore. Subtle changes to the suspension will be made to improve the SF24's traction without compromising its excellent cornering performance. Major upgrades are lined up for Austin, with a brand new front wing taking the spotlight. As the Singapore's prospects, Ferrari was the strongest at Monaco, so I expect them to be equally competitive at Singapore. Touching a little bit on RB last, some rumours suggest RB could be bringing upgrades to Singapore. Nothing confirmed yet. Official plans are for upgrades to arrive at Austin in 3 weeks' time, so let's see. So, with all these upgrades, are you excited for the Singapore Grand Prix? We are very much into your thoughts and perspectives in the comments section down below. And on your way down, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get notified of our future uploads to keep yourselves up to date about the 2024 Formula 1 season.